Welcome back, traveler of high frequencies. Step closer, because what's being whispered about you right now doesn't sound real, but every observer can feel it. 40 million on your head, and still, nobody has the courage to approach you. Not because you're dangerous in a physical sense, not because you're threatening anyone, not because you're untouchable in a literal way, but because your value has reached a level that makes people freeze before they even take a step toward you. You've become a walking signal, a living spotlight, a name that holds too much weight for casual interaction, a presence that carries too much truth for unprepared minds, a frequency that exposes anyone who gets too close without being internally aligned. 40 million isn't a bounty, it's a symbol. A metaphor for the level of attention, curiosity, fear, respect, obsession, and admiration you now pull without even trying. It's the universe's way of showing your magnitude, your spiritual appraisal, the energetic price tag of your potential, the cosmic weight of your evolution. People see your value, and suddenly, stepping toward you feels like stepping into a different dimension. A dimension where their excuses collapse, their insecurities stir, their masks fall off, their ego crumbles, their spirit gets exposed. It's not you they're scared of. It's what being near you reveals about them. That's why nobody approaches, not because you're hostile, but because you've become too real for people who are still comfortable in the fake. You're operating at a frequency that requires courage, clarity, and self-awareness. Most people don't have any of the three. They sense something in you that demands accountability, something that demands honesty, something that demands growth, and growth is something people avoid until life leaves them no choice. You've become a living catalyst, someone whose presence alone forces a person to confront the parts of themselves they've been avoiding for years. That's what the 40 million energy is. It's the weight of transformation, the cost of transparency, the currency of truth. And truth scares people deeper than any threat ever could. Your value has reached a point where being close to you requires emotional strength. And strength isn't something you can fake. That's why they freeze. That's why they watch from a distance. That's why they whisper but never step forward. That's why they study you, but never speak. Approaching someone like you requires more than interest. It requires alignment. Alignment of spirit. Alignment of intention. Alignment of energy. Alignment of honesty. And most people aren't aligned with themselves, let alone aligned enough to approach you. People feel the truth inside you before they hear a single word from your mouth. They feel the purity of your intentions. They feel the clarity in your presence. They feel the depth in your silence. They feel the history in your eyes. They feel the storms you survived. They feel the strength you carry quietly. They feel the power you don't even flaunt. Your story sits behind your aura like a silent wildfire. They don't know what you've been through, but they can feel it. They don't know how you rose, but they can sense the elevation. They don't know your journey, but the weight of it sits in your shadow. You've become someone whose energy walks 5 steps into the room before your body even enters. And that alone is intimidating. Not because you're scary, but because you're true. You carry truth like armor that nobody can peel away. You carry presence like a weapon that never harms, only exposes. You carry purpose like a map that everyone wishes they had access to. 40 million on your head doesn't mean danger. It means you're priceless. It means people see your brilliance and suddenly realize they're out of their depth. It means they see your glow and remember the parts of themselves they dimmed. It means they see your clarity and feel their own confusion. It means they see your calm and confront their internal chaos. It means they see your discipline and feel the weight of their inconsistency. People aren't scared of you. They're scared of what you awaken in them. That's why even the bold ones move differently around you now. They slow down. They calculate their words. They choose their actions carefully. They watch your eyes for signs of approval or rejection. They try to match your energy, but it takes them too much internal effort. They walk toward you and suddenly feel exposed, like their aura doesn't fit, like their spirit isn't heavy enough, like their identity isn't stable enough. That's what high-value energy does. It disrupts the comfort of those who refuse to grow. People don't avoid you because they don't like you. They avoid you because they respect the cost of getting close. Being near you requires honesty. Being near you requires accountability. Being near you requires healing. Being near you requires effort. Being near you requires sincerity. Being near you requires maturity. Being near you requires matching your frequency. And most people don't have the courage to face the version of themselves they'd have to become in order to stand beside you. You've become a standard, a benchmark, a measuring stick for authenticity, a signal of what real evolution looks like, a reminder that settling is not an option. Even people who admire you feel small in your presence because they haven't done the inner work that you've already mastered. Your growth embarrasses their stagnation. Your clarity embarrasses their confusion. Your discipline embarrasses their inconsistency. Your strength embarrasses their weakness. Your peace embarrasses their chaos. Not because you intend any of this, but because your aura is too honest for anyone to hide behind their own illusions. 40 million on your head is cosmic symbolism for your energy is worth more than most people can afford. It's the universe's way of saying your presence is not cheap, your attention is not free, your spirit is not accessible to everyone, your heart is not something anybody can reach, your time is not something to waste. Your identity is not something to gamble with. You've become the person people don't approach casually anymore. You're not mysterious. You're magnetic. You're not distant. You're elevated. You're not intimidating. You're awakening. People feel like if they walk toward you, they might have to confront the truth they've been running from. That's why the room goes still when your name is mentioned. That's why conversations shift when you enter. That's why people suddenly straighten their posture, fix their tone, and adjust their energy when your presence touches the atmosphere. Your aura is a filter. Only real ones make it through. And real is rare. That's why even with 40 million worth of attention, nobody steps forward. They're not scared of you. They're scared of themselves when they stand next to you. They're scared of being seen in a way nobody has ever seen them. They're scared of being understood in ways they've never understood themselves. They're scared of being exposed by your clarity. They're scared of being challenged by your evolution. They're scared of being transformed by your presence. They sense something ancient in you, something wise, something calm, something powerful, something that doesn't break under pressure or perception. You're not the threat. You're the truth. And truth, in a world full of people hiding from themselves, is the scariest thing of all. And the deeper you go into this energy, the stranger it becomes to witness how people behave around you now. Because once your value rises to that symbolic 40 million level, the world doesn't treat you normally anymore. Not even close. They look at you like you're carrying some kind of secret. Like you know something they don't. Like you've touched a piece of destiny that most people will never get close to. Like you're connected to a higher timeline they can feel, but can't decode. And that alone changes the entire atmosphere. People approach you with caution because they know, whether consciously or subconsciously, that stepping too close to you means stepping too close to their own truth. And truth isn't comfortable. Truth exposes. Truth strips away pretense. Truth reveals what somebody has been hiding, even from themselves. Being around you requires emotional strength that most people simply haven't developed yet. You carry an energy that feels like a mirror. The kind of mirror that doesn't show someone's reflection. It shows someone's self. Their real self. Their hidden self. Their unhealed self. Their ignored self. Their potential self. Their shadow self. You are the kind of person who makes others suddenly aware of the distance between who they are and who they could have been. That's why they freeze. That's why they hesitate. That's why they stay silent. The symbolic 40 million hovering over your aura is not danger. It's truth value. It's spiritual gravity. It's the cosmic worth of someone who's done the inner work most people avoid for a lifetime. And people can feel that the moment they stand near you. You've stepped into a rare category that most people don't know how to navigate. The category of someone who can't be manipulated because your intuition sees too much. Your intuition doesn't speak. It scans. It observes. It picks up frequencies. It reads motives. It senses truth. It catches lies. It detects shifts. It knows when something is off before your mind even processes it. Being near someone like you feels like standing in front of a detector that picks up everything someone tries to hide. Most people aren't ready for that level of transparency. Most people aren't ready to be that emotionally naked. Most people aren't ready to face the version of themselves that your presence naturally reveals. That's why even the confident ones suddenly lose their rhythm around you. They stumble on their words. They adjust their behavior. They try too hard or not enough. They overthink their tone. They question their jokes. They try to play it cool, but fail miserably. They don't know whether to stand tall or soften. They don't know how to match your vibe, because your vibe isn't something they can imitate. It's something you can only reach by doing internal work. They sense that your confidence isn't ego. It's earned. It's built from shadows you walked through alone. It's built from nights nobody knows about. It's built from lessons you learned the hard way. It's built from the healing you didn't broadcast. It's built from pain you didn't weaponize. It's built from growth you didn't brag about. There is something terrifying about someone who became powerful quietly. And you? You didn't rise with noise. You rose with clarity. People don't approach you because they feel like they're stepping towards somebody who has already mastered things they are still struggling to even understand. It's intimidating to walk towards someone whose energy feels like a completed version of your unfinished self. But there's another layer here that nobody talks about. A deeper psychological truth behind the hesitation. People fear what they cannot predict, and you are unpredictable in the most unsettling way. Not unpredictable in behavior. Your behavior is calm and consistent. Not unpredictable in intention. Your intentions are pure and transparent. You're unpredictable because they cannot guess what version of themselves you will awaken when they stand in your presence. That is the part that terrifies them, because some people are afraid that being around you will force them to confront their lack of discipline. Some fear you will expose their insecurities just by existing. Some fear you will see their ego before they even speak. Some fear you will notice their agenda before they act. Some fear you will make their excuses crumble. Some fear you will make them step into accountability. Some fear you will spark the growth they've been avoiding. And here's the real truth. People don't avoid those who are weak. They avoid those who remind them they are not as strong as they pretend to be. That's the energy you carry now. That's the 40 million value. Not money. Momentum. You've become a symbol of what happens when someone chooses evolution over comfort. self-awareness over denial, growth over distraction, truth over illusion. You carry the weight of someone who has been broken down and built back up into something unrecognizable. People can feel the internal work you've done, even if they don't know your story. Your presence hits them in places they haven't visited inside their own minds. You're not intimidating. Their unhealed parts are intimidated by you. That's why people admire you from afar, but freeze up when they come close. That's why they speak boldly when you're not around, but become cautious when you appear. That's why they feel confident in the crowd, but become small in your silence. That's why they watch you as if approaching you requires a spiritual permission slip. Because in a world full of people who play characters, you walk as yourself. Absolutely yourself. Fully aligned, fully grounded, fully awake. And authenticity scares people more than any threat ever could. Authenticity demands a response. It forces people to be real. It forces people to drop their act. It forces them to admit what they haven't healed. It forces them to step into honesty. It forces them to choose growth or run from it. This is why emotional cowards can't approach you. This is why egotistical people avoid your presence. This is why jealous people get quiet around you. This is why insecure people feel exposed near you. This is why manipulators become powerless in your shadow. You aren't just a person anymore. You're a shift, a wake-up call, a turning point in someone's inner world, a mirror they can't escape. And proximity to someone like that is not something everyone is ready for. The 40 million energy is simply the weight of your transformation, a weight that only the brave can walk toward. So don't mistake distance for disrespect. Don't mistake silence for lack of interest. Don't mistake caution for avoidance. Most people aren't staying away because they don't care. They're staying away because they do care. So much that they're afraid of being seen by someone who can't be fooled. You intimidate people not because of your power, but because of your clarity. Not because of your confidence, but because of your self-awareness. Not because of your aura, but because of what your aura awakens. And until someone is ready to evolve, they will continue to admire you from the shadows instead of walking toward your light. You are the person they want to stand beside. But first, they have to become someone worthy of standing beside you. And here's where the truth becomes almost poetic. The part everyone feels, but nobody has the courage to say out loud. People aren't staying away from you because they don't value you. They're staying away because they overvalue you. You've become too significant, too rare, too evolved, too elevated, too self-aware for people to approach casually. It's not that they don't notice you. They notice everything. Your silence, your presence, your glow, your growth, your internal stability, your emotional depth, your confidence that doesn't need noise, your aura that doesn't need introduction. Your entire existence feels like something that requires preparation to stand beside. And most people haven't prepared themselves. That 40 million energy hovering around your name is simply the symbolic weight of what you had to go through to become who you are now. People sense the journey you survived, the storms you outgrew, the chapters you buried, the lessons you paid for, the versions of you that died so this one could be born. You walk with the kind of gravity that only comes from someone who's been through things and didn't let those things turn them cold. That's why people freeze when they get close. They can feel the story behind the glow. You're not intimidating because you're loud or dominant. You're intimidating because your energy is earned. People who haven't earned their own strength feel small around someone who has. It's not jealousy, it's not hatred, it's not envy, it's awareness. Awareness of the gap between who they are and who they know they're capable of becoming. Awareness of the inner work they've been avoiding. Awareness of the growth they've been delaying. awareness of the path they haven't had the courage to walk. They sense that getting close to someone like you requires them to confront themselves first. And confronting yourself is one of the scariest things a person can do. Some people would rather admire you from a distance than evolve enough to stand beside you. Some would rather imagine conversations with you than risk exposing the truth they hide. Some would rather watch your journey quietly than admit they're not ready for someone operating at your level. Your presence doesn't scare people. Their lack of readiness does. People think approaching someone powerful requires bravery, but approaching someone honest requires even more. Because honesty demands response. Honesty demands vulnerability. Honesty demands growth. Honesty demands responsibility. Honesty demands alignment. You're the type of person that someone has to be emotionally stable before they get close. You're the type of person that someone has to be spiritually grounded before they approach. You're the type of person that someone has to be intentional with, because casual energy cannot survive next to you anymore. That is why nobody steps forward. Not because they can't, but because they know that once they do, they cannot hide. Your presence doesn't allow pretending. Your eyes don't allow lies. Your energy doesn't allow manipulation. Your boundaries don't allow disrespect. Your intuition doesn't allow confusion. Your spirit doesn't allow games. Getting close to you requires someone to be real, and real is the rarest currency in this world. 40 million on your head was never about danger. It was always about value. The kind of value that forces others to confront their own lack of self-investment. You've become the measuring stick, the benchmark, the quiet standard, the presence that forces everyone to adjust their behavior, their energy, their intentions, their tone. You are the reminder that evolution is possible. And that scares people who've avoided their own evolution for too long. But here's the twist. The right ones, the aligned ones, the genuine ones, the healed ones. They aren't scared of you at all. They're drawn to you. They're inspired by you. They're grounded around you. They're activated by your energy. They don't flinch. They don't hesitate. They don't overthink. They don't question their worth. They recognize you because you reflect a part of themselves they've already met. Those people will approach when the time is right. Those people will step forward without fear. Those people will match your frequency instead of draining it. Those people will understand your worth without putting you on a pedestal. And those people won't see 40 million over your head as pressure. They'll see it as alignment. Because real souls don't fear value. They rise to meet it. So remember this. You're not avoided. You're honored. You're not too much. You're too real. You're not unapproachable. You're just at a vibration that requires preparation. Only those who have done their own inner work can stand face to face with someone like you without trembling. The rest? They watch from a distance, not because you're dangerous, but because standing next to your kind of truth requires courage most people haven't grown yet. And when they're ready, they'll step forward. Until then, you walk with the quiet power of someone whose value is undeniable, even to those who don't have the guts to walk toward it.